After the barbaric killing of a UK soldier shocked the nation, condolences have been pouring in for the slain man and his family. Well-wishers placed flowers at the site of the soldier's death near Woolwich barracks in London, where he was allegedly hacked to death by two Islamist assailants. Authorities have now identified the slain soldier as drummer Lee Rigby of the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. The 25-year-old from Manchester is survived by his 2-year-old son. Drummer Rigby joined the British Army in 2006 and served overseas in Afghanistan before taking up a recruitment post in London in 2011. Security across London at the city's military barracks has been increased as a result of the killing.
The message is very clear about calm and normality. We have extra officers on duty right across London in places where people will gather, outside things you'd anticipate us to think about, such as places of faith, and our message is very one about normality and reassurance. You will see those extra officers on duty in uniform for probably about the next 3 days until we've got a clearer picture about what has happened.
But questions are already being asked about how the incident was allowed to happen when the suspects were known to authorities and why the police took so long to respond. Armed officers reportedly took 20 minutes to arrive at the scene of the crime.
In the coming days, there was certainly going to be some kind of inquiry and investigation into whether there was some kind of intelligence failure that led to yesterday's incident. But in reality, if these two are found to be unlinked to an established jihadist terrorist organisation, it is incredibly difficult for the authorities to both find and apprehend these kind of suspects before they stage their attacks.
Such a basic attack, which does not require extensive planning, may be difficult to protect against.
Amateurish can still be very deadly, and the problem is that the more professional threats that we've faced, and which have been very successfully disrupted over the past 5-6 years, certainly since the attacks against London, with no significant incidents at all, have lent themselves to sophisticated intelligence sharing and operations by various security agencies. Individuals deciding to go and carry out attacks like this, and I'm reminded of the young Frenchman Mera who attacked a Jewish school in France, which you may remember. It's extraordinarily difficult to prepare for the actions of an individual or a pair of people who might be viewing and might be associating with people who might be of interest.
The attacker's choice of target for their attack apparently corresponds to recent propaganda released by Al-Qaeda.
Across multiple theatres around the world, Pakistan, Iraq, Afghanistan, we're seeing daily attacks on soldiers and members of the security forces. Most jihadists regard these as symbols of state authority, and it is relatively unsurprising that the attack yesterday was against a member of the armed forces rather than a civilian in the street. In recent jihadist propaganda that's been released by Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, it calls for sympathisers in the West to stage attacks on 3 main targets, which are economic, military and political.
The attack raises new questions about the issues of homegrown extremism and the difficulties in preventing such attacks from taking place.